Welcome back to the ROKK Rundown, week 2. It's Friday. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having us, Lisa. You're a true pro.
Well, tell me this. Everything we predicted last week, way to go. I mean, high fives all around. We predicted there'd be a shutdown, and alas, there is a shutdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's exciting. Rodell, I'll let you go first.
I'm 3 days in. I don't think a lot has changed, a lot of finger pointing. So the Washington Post just came out with the first polling on this, where you got 30% of the 1,000 people that they polled blaming Democrats, you have 23% that are unsure, and you have 47% blaming Trump and the Republicans. And I think that likely has a lot to do with the fact that, listen, president's everywhere. His face is on this. Senator Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries could walk into a lot of places in the country and people wouldn't know who they are. I can't say that about the president.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but we're only 3 days in, so it'll be interesting to see how this changes over time.
If you had to look, before I get to you, Ron, if you had to look into your super cloudy crystal ball, how long do you think this goes?
I think a couple of weeks, and the reason why is that there needs to be at least some pain, right? And I don't know if that pain is economic pain. I don't know if that pain is polling pain, or for instance, on the Democrat side, if people start peeling off, or so on or so forth. But there needs to be some sort of pain or some sort of mechanism that makes people say, like, all right, let's figure this thing out. And then from there, what'll be interesting on the communication piece is, how do you walk this back? How do you, on both sides, how do you save face? How do you declare victory and then go about your business?
Yeah. What about you, Ron? What's your takeaway?
This is now a messaging war on a daily basis. So both parties have to be thinking about what the news cycle is going to look like every single day, because there's nothing else to cover in Washington but the shutdown.
Yeah.
And so it's a game of intensity, really. And so I think, for the Republicans, they're feeling really good right now about the messaging that they're pushing, that the Democrats, if they were to vote for the Senate, for the CR in the Senate, that we wouldn't have a shutdown. And additionally, that Chuck Schumer had to bend to the will of liberal interest groups in order to cause a shutdown to happen, because he voted for a continuing resolution for the exact same type of legislation. So it's a game of intensity and a game of wills right now. So we'll have to see how much pain, as Rodell said, is inflicted on the American people, but more importantly, how much pain is inflicted politically in each party. Who feels like they're losing more? And we'll see how many Senate moderates, Democrats come.
You make a great point, and I'm going to get to it in a second. Yes, no question. Do the American people remember this next November?
No.
Absolutely not. No, there's just too much volume in the news cycle. Once the shutdown is over, they may not remember it a couple weeks from when it happened.
Because almost always pay for government workers is retroactive. So the people that have been impositioned right now will likely get paid. We expect that. This is the way the playbook at least once was written. But you make a point, Ron, that this is the only thing that we're covering. What are the stories that people weren't paying attention to this week that you saw?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you first. I know Rodell has one too.
I'm glad you asked that.
Okay. We have props for our show now.
So
I was not aware of their now.
This is wild. This is wild. So there was a recall of shrimp that took place in Kirkland, Washington. Seaport Products Corporation out of Kirkland, Washington had a shrimp recall, 16 to 20 pound bags, because they may have been prepared, packed, or held in conditions where they were contaminated with cesium-137. What is that? Radiation. Radioactive shrimp. That, if there wasn't a shutdown, would be all over the place.
Would be everywhere.
How did shrimp become radioactive? And what the hell is going on with our nation's food supply?
By the way, that was just his grocery list. That was actually not a news article.
I was really upset. Yeah, that's right. That was my grocery list. What do you mean it's a recall? I wanted a 16 to 20 pound bag of shrimp. I like all kinds of shrimp. Blackened shrimp, fried shrimp, breaded shrimp.
I know. Here we go, right? Thank you.
Forrest Gump
Thank you,
moment.
Forrest. Thank you.
Right.
What about you? What was the take? What was something that stood out for you, a story that was...
So it might still wind up getting a little bit of traction, but I think just in the circles of communicators, but Gallup just came out with new trust polling, and mass media was down yet again. And I think, listen, as communicators and especially as we're trying to give our clients the best advice. Just looking at some of these numbers, I mean, listen, institutions have gone down precipitously since 2016, but mass media has taken the biggest hit. And so just figuring out ways to, one, continue to monitor this and just figuring out ways for our clients to get their messaging out, knowing that there are fewer and fewer trusted sources.
You know, that's a good point you make, and I'm glad you do, because there was one item that I was going to bring up. One of our colleagues, who now is an independent journalist who was once with Puck and NBC, Tara Palmieri, just reported that she has, over the course of the last just a couple months, has 100,000 followers on YouTube for her own independent show. So sources that we traditionally called media and mass media are changing. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I sort of thought that I hadn't really been widely reported, but that's the kind of thing you're seeing. You're seeing this growth in other spaces and communications that are not what traditional news sources once were.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I think it's great in the sense that, especially as communicators, there are many more avenues to get your message out. I think the con is that there really isn't consensus on what is right, what is wrong, what is truth, what is truth, and what isn't truth.
Yeah, speaking about that YouTube followers, I mean, Saturday Night Live's they're coming out with their new season this Saturday, and there's a new cast member that I was actually following on Instagram. Veronica is cool. Her name is Veronica Slowiskasa, and she has over 1 million followers on Instagram, and she does skits that are pretty funny. Some are kind of weird, but she's doing her comedy online, right, along with some stand-up, and got noticed. And so that's how it works.
Wow.
Can I also add one more thing before we close?
Yes.
Bad Bunny. Who is Bad Bunny's agent? He is everywhere. He's doing the Super Bowl. He's doing SNL this Saturday. But like I turn it to Netflix, I'm turning it to Happy Gilmore too. There he is, Adam Sandler's caddy. What is going on?
Professional wrestling as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is happening?
I think he's like, was it last year or the year before? He was the #1 streaming artist on Spotify. I mean, he's a big deal.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely a big deal.
I like it. We're totally linking to Bad Bunny for this episode.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us for episode 2. Come back next week for episode 3.